When we attach our worth to the outcome, that's where the problem gets all mingled up.
Well, hey, and welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. I am so excited because we're going to be talking today with Shannon Hernandez, who is a newer friend of mine. I've been getting more active in local networking, which ironically brought me to a online-based networking community. I couldn't help it. But I met Shannon through Facebook. We got to know each other a little bit there. And I have to tell you that when I really like somebody, I stalk them heavily. And I've been watching Shannon over the past several months. This woman is so down to earth. And let me give you a little bit of her resume. She's a messaging and marketing strategist, and she's the founder of the Joyful Business Revolution, which gives me goosebumps all the way up to my cheeks to share. Because boy, if you don't have joy, like in building a business, go get a job. Like if you've got to tolerate making money, that sucks. Like, let's bring some joy. I love this. She's passionate about helping mission-driven business owners achieve sustainable, joyful growth. She specializes in organic marketing, and let me just say, she's dang good at it. I've been watching her and her moves, and she loves building aligned audiences, fostering meaningful connections, and driving profits with purpose. And I'm going to ask her about this because I know that Shannon is also, she puts diversity and inclusion right at the front and center of what she does. And I know that that is also something that I had in mind when I was leaving corporate America as a young-ish mother and wanting to do something really different that is really aligned. And so she is an advocate for marginalized communities. And I saw a post recently that I'm going to ask you about in a second, Shannon, about how you provide scholarships. So I really want to hear about that. She's been on CBS, ABC, Fox, and NBC, and she has over 25 years of award-winning expertise, and she's just outstanding and amazing. Shannon, welcome to the show.
I'm so excited to be here. I've been stalking you too, so we'll just be the stalkers.
I think it's like the 2025 way of saying I like you is that you're following somebody else's posts really closely.
Well, I'll tell you how I tell people I like them because I think I did it to you. I go into their DMs and say, I really like you. Do you want to be real friends? Because I need more like real, can I cuss here? I need more real friend energy here.
Totally. Yes. And like we're like an occasional F-bomb shop. So like if it's
Okay.
great for punctuation, we do it. So Shannon, I mean, I really did appreciate that because I think you're probably like a lot of business owners where you get a ton of inbound messages and they're not genuine. They're not coming from a really genuine place. You can just feel, I call it sales breath. You can feel that sales breath energy. And I could tell right away when you reached out, it's like, no, this girl plays a long game. Like she's happy to make relationships and see where they go. And it was refreshing. It was really awesome.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, thank you. On that note, I was so sick of people that I thought were people, and they were people. But on the other side of like accepting the friend request or the connection request, it was like the pitch, right? The proverbial pitch that I drafted 2 years ago before anyone. If you friend me and do not send me a message, or you connect with me on LinkedIn and do not send me a message, you're going to get a response from me. And yes, it is from me. But the response is going to say, I value human relationships. So please introduce yourself and tell me what's joyful in your world. And Amanda, in all the years I've been doing this and all the messages, it's been 2 years and lots of messages. I've had 3 people be complete fucking assholes to me in Messenger. And they said, well, I think that you were getting ready to pitch me because you asked me what was joyful in my world. No,
My God.
no, they were caught red-handed. And instead of just like backing away or reflecting on it or whatever, and you know what? I just blocked them then because that's not the energy I want anyway.
Yeah, and I have to imagine like you have thousands and thousands of followers. So for the number to be three, I think that's really heartening for a business owner to hear who's maybe working up the nerve to build their personal brand and have their personal brand presence because like the price you pay for being visible and being seen is that you are going to get contact from like everyone, because they're going to be like, you clearly have something to sell, which means you have something to buy because you have a business. It is a price, but I mean, I think that's so wonderful that out of the thousands, it's three. And I think that ties out with my belief, basically, that most people are good. People do their best with the information that they have, and like even those three, I'd hazard to guess that they were just shocked.
Well, they were shocked, but they were shocked and an asshole, which is double whammy.
And what a blessing too that they told you who they were right away. Like, boy, that just saves you so much energy.
And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, you just made my job so easy. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we don't have to nurture that. That's fine. We're done. So, Shannon, talk to me a little bit about your choice, your decision to pursue like marketing. Why this? Why do you love this?
Well, I used to be a teacher in Spanish Harlem, so I taught those crazy eighth graders that looked nothing like me. I was the minority in the classroom. And what I know worked for them, which is the theory I left with 13 years ago, was enrolling them into their own story. Right? What is their story? What do they want? And listen, sometimes we got to detach from what people want, because these kids wanted some crazy, bogus things, right? They're living on the streets. Seriously, whatever. I just learned to accept that whatever they wanted, ethically, I was going to enroll them into the story of how to get it. All right. And so that was the best playground for marketing in my life, honestly, because the best marketers, and y'all, if you're listening to this, you are going to be a marketer if you want clients. So I'm going to break it down for you right now. You can call it a different word. You can wrap it in a different bow. You're going to have to learn to share your story and share your message and share your mission and enroll people. But anyway, the best marketing that I tell my clients they can be is be 100% themselves, know where you stand, take a damn stance, let the haters hate, and go for the gold of the people who are in line with your mission. And I learned that from standing for 15 years in front of 90 students a day. I taught 90 students a day, trying to figure out how I was going to leave a classroom alive and come back the next day with the energy to teaching it.
Yeah, that's a super difficult environment, and such a powerful story, especially when people think about how to use their own story. I think what's really cool about your telling of your story here is that it was really about the activation of the story in the students. And I think that that's a really powerful distinction that anybody listening could write down, put in your notebook, tell the story that your audience needs to be a part of. Like that's the story that matters. And I think a lot of anxiety of telling what your story is, you do have to do that, but I think a lot of people get this anxiety that, and I know this is me too, that they're not impressive enough. Like they don't have enough drama in their story to make it worthy. And when you realize that it's actually about their story and you're telling your pieces and bits to help them step into their own, that's a pretty powerful thing. So Shannon, what we're at the beginning of 2025, and I just feel compelled to ask, like, what do you see or predict for this coming year? We've seen already TikTok got shut down and started back up in 15 hours. Like there's a ton of disruption, AI, all the things. I'm so curious. What's your take? What do you think is going to be defining about 2025?
Well, my first take is I'm going to treat this year, which has started off with a bang of a shit show, pretty much like every other year in business. I'm going to focus. All right. And I say this as an ADHD entrepreneur, a neurodivergent business owner, the owner of a brand that's $1 million a year with no ads. How did I get there? Focus. Focus. And if you don't know what to focus on, it's okay. That's why there's people like me and Amanda and other good-hearted people that are going to help you focus. For this year specifically, I have put myself on a podcast tour. So here I am. All right. I have, thank you for helping make my dream come true, Amanda. I have refined how I'm going to run my business. I'm in the early stages of moving away from a very capitalistic quarterly mindset into a more seasonal, natural rhythm approach. I don't expect this is going to take, it's not going to be like done this year, but it's going to be a practice like yoga, right? It's going to be a practice that I just remember, okay, right now we're in winter, and winter is about resting, reflecting, and restoring energy so we can hit the road running again. All right, so that's pretty cool. And the other thing I think that will help people with their own business this year is to lean into the fact that you have 52,000 stories and you can no longer stand back and say, I have nothing to say. And if you are in that situation, please reach out to me because
Yeah,
you're sitting
seriously.
on a
I
gold mine.
actually And I think people are really ready to hear that. I recently launched my membership community, the First Five Club, which is based on like let's do what's necessary for attracting and converting those very first five clients or your very next five clients if you want to do it a lot faster than you did in the past. As a very special bonus for the early adopters, the really early birds in that launch, I offered almost kind of off the cuff. I was like, let's do a story extraction workshop as a bonus, and people were like so there, and we went for a good 2.5 hours, and it was like wildly popular for people to show up to that, and I was like, well, huh. I think 2025 is going to be the year of finding your voice and finding like your expression of that. What else I'm seeing is there's this the proliferation of content. Like there's just so much content out there for you to really differentiate. I totally agree. Now, in your experience, you've worked with a lot of people, and focus is like the key theme for you this year. If you were speaking to somebody who's starting their business or they're ready to have the best year they've ever had, what should they be avoiding? Like what are those distractors that tend to steal focus away?
Okay, so first I'm going to answer what they absolutely should not be avoiding, and then we'll talk about all the other things, right?
Okay.
So, number one, to focus in my world means one primary social media platform with an email list. That's it. That is the focus. That's what we teach. That's what I've done for years. It's how we build out your marketing strategy. So, everything that's not that is a distraction. All right. So, my primary platform for 2025 is LinkedIn and, of course, email. I mean, if you all have watched any of the shit show go down around TikTok here, TikTok not, X is here, blah, blah, get your damn email list started now. I did this from day one, even though I didn't know what it meant. But I had a coach who said, you need an email list and you need to own your data. I didn't even know what that meant, but I was like, well, this is why I hired this person. She knows way more than I do. I am ever so grateful that has happened. All right. The other thing I would say, especially for our creative, neurodivergent listeners, pick the one offer you want to sell and focus on selling that offer. Do not get distracted like I did for 7 years. When I got bored, I created a new offer. For 7 years, I wasted time creating new, got to market it, do this, do that. That adrenaline was so addictive to my ADHD brain. But when I finally said enough is enough, I'm leading with the one offer, which I have led with now for 7 years, and it's good. And the way I'm going to experiment is I'm going to go get some damn hobbies and passion projects. I'm going to take an art class. I'm going to learn to bake sourdough bread. I'm getting back to fiction and let the marketing work for you. So anything that's not determine your offer and sell it on one platform with email is a distraction.
Yeah,
Answer the
yeah.
question.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. And I think like especially in the early days, it makes sense to test that offer, but like once you have something that's viable, once you've figured it out, like that's when you double down. Unless there's something that's like fundamentally wrong with, the delivery method or something like that. But even then, once you find the thing that works, like I love that, do make sure that you follow through on that. So good. So Shannon, like as you see people, succeeding more in the marketplace? What are you seeing really win these days if people are like trying to choose that direction? They're trying to choose like what is that one offer? Because that can be so scary to select. And that's one of the things we're doing in the First Five Club is just like identifying, we call it the problem of appropriate magnitude, but essentially it's your niche and the key problem or challenge that your solution is solving. So, what would be your biggest tip or advice to somebody who feels like they have a lot of different things they could give? How do they hone in on what they should give?
Well, the number one thing, and the reason I rebranded to such a bold name as Joyful Business Revolution, is because none of us have time to be doing shit that ain't joyful. That is our mantra here. If it ain't joyful, we ain't doing that shit. I open every speech with it. I say it in every podcast. Every client recites it. All right. So what do I mean by that? And you won't know till you test. I agree with that. Right. But I built a robust one-on-one practice right out of the gate. And I had so many one-on-ones. I hated it by the time I was in it. And I didn't make myself wrong for that. But I knew that my energy, the teacher, the love to train and facilitate, that is not one-on-one, me saying the same thing 15 times a day to each person that I have to talk to, right? So eventually we did a blended model because what did I do? I was burnt out on one-on-ones. What did I do? What my coach told me to, which I would not recommend. Burn that down and go build the group. Well, then I felt disconnected from what they were doing. Like, how can I help if I'm in a group? So what I eventually found is I needed a hybrid model where I have some one-on-one, but way more group. And it was a process of elimination and testing and all of that. But to your question, there are a million ways I could offer our Joy Fueled Business Growth Program. The way that I offer it is a way that brings me joy. And to me, it leaves me with energy at the end of the day to go do the other things that I want to be doing in my life.
That's super. I love
So that's important. And I would ask you, Amanda, and maybe you already do this, I would have them really rate like, okay, is talking to people 2 times a month in a membership, 100 people on your screen, does that feel joyful to you? Is it going to give you energy or take energy? Or one-on-one or whatever? I would have them go through and rate that because it's the piece that nobody's talking about. Any way we build
we for
right?
sure do pay attention to joy because we do like high performance coaching in our group programs, and that's a really big core tenet is we believe in bringing the joy. Here's my curious question. What's your take on struggle? Because when you do something new, it almost always sucks in the beginning, because maybe the quality isn't what you imagined it was going to be. It probably cost a heck of a lot more than you thought it was going to cost. It probably took a heck of a lot more time than you thought it was going to take. And what I notice is, especially among like newer entrepreneurs or people that are struggling with like breaking through to what they would like to joyfully achieve at their next level, often it's their emotional regulation around that struggle. So how do you guide people through that while at the same time prioritizing joy?
Well, one of the things before we take any clients is we make sure everyone understands your marketing and your messaging is one big experiment. We are going to play. We're going to get curious. We're going to screw shit up. We're going to blow stuff up. Some stuff is going to work and some not. And are you okay with that process?
Mm-hmm.
If they say yes, great. Now we're talking about how do they handle struggle. Okay. Now we are going to all struggle, y'all. Everyone's going to struggle. Even those of us who have been in this for a while, we try new things. It don't always work. They flop. All right. But emotional regulation in general, it's huge. And it's especially huge for service providers who, and I was here before, and sometimes I go back there, but when we attach our worth to the outcome, that's where the problem gets all mingled up. And then we're in this, I'm not good enough, imposter syndrome, nobody wants to hear from me, blah, 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 right? So the trick, if you will, is to understand, one, you are an employee of your business and you're going to try things and test things out. And if you struggle, that is normal. And if you make that struggle into a story, that is where you need to draw the line. And that's what happens, right? Is we make the struggle into a story about our worth or our worthiness. And then we're in this downward spiral trying to like be visible. That's really hard to do.
So true. And I have observed the very, very same thing. Shannon, I've loved our time together, but alas, we are at the end. So what is the best way for people to follow you and get more joy in their marketing?
Oh my gosh, two ways. One, come follow me over on LinkedIn. That's where I'm going to be hanging out this year. I'm Shannon Hernandez on LinkedIn. And two, if you DM me on LinkedIn with the word Amanda, I'm going to send you a special resource that will make your marketing not such a struggle for you.
Thank you. That's very generous. And so, yes, listener, we can find those links and the link to Shannon's website in the show notes. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss another episode of the show. And please take a moment to leave a review, an honest review. And honestly, Shannon deserves a 5. It's just my opinion. You got to leave your own opinion. But if you do that, that actually makes the show easier for others to find and to decide to spend time with us. And, I'm sure that you've got some friends that are possibly at a crossroads with their marketing. They're wanting to choose more joy, or like we say around here, we want to not suck at what we're doing. And so go ahead and share this episode directly with one of those friends, send it to them in the DM or the messenger or the text. And we will see you on an episode upcoming. Thanks so much, Shannon.
Thank you. Adios.